been a while since I did a video, so I thought I would put this video together and show you what happens when you get a phone call from your son and he says his car won't start and it's cheaper to call me than to call a tow truck. So we had to come out and check this out. We're at the city park, so we're gonna see what the engine sounds like and do a little checking here. So it's always a good thing just to kind of check it out for yourself so you can hear the noise. Let's see what it does.
It sounded better than that before.
Yeah. Well, kind of sounds like a battery going dead. So let's look under the hood here. Dirty engine. But here's battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my voltmeter. We're going to test the battery real quick. So I got this voltmeter, a little volt ohm meter, does AC, DC, ohms, all kinds of stuff. So we'll pull the little caps off here. Then we got to make sure we're set for DC volts. So we got to this one's kind of new to me, so I just have to put it on 12 volt. So when you're testing a battery, this is your negative, you got a minus, and this is your positive, it's got a plus. This is a dirty battery. But this battery was in here when he picked up this Suburban, and so we're going to put a lead on the negative and a lead on the positive. And it says 11 point, it varies about 11.4 volts. And it should be higher than that sitting here on a dead load, but let's see. I think what we'll do is we'll get a set of jumper cables out of my car, see if we can jump it. If we can't jump it, we may have to just go pick up a new battery and put it in here. When hooking up your jumper cables, keep them separated. Now, I will always hook the vehicle I'm jumping up first, because I can hook directly to the battery that way. So I'm going to hook my positive up first, and hopefully my battery in my car is not on the other side. And sometimes these things actually have jumper posts that you can jump to, but it doesn't look like it. And you drop your battery cable. Wiggle those around a little bit. Get a good, I don't like the connection on that. Always try to get yourself a good set of jumper cables. Find my latch. I don't open my hood very often. There we go. Set this guy up. Oh good, my battery's on this side. So I can hook my ground up over here. Sometimes your battery will put off gases or whatever from the vapors. And if you get a spark, you could blow your battery up. My uncle one time got a battery blown up right in his face. Made a mess. Now, get tangled up in my battery cable. Don't touch these together because you'll get a spark and it could be nasty. So make sure those stayed on. Yeah. And that is the ground. Goes over, goes back to the battery, the body ground. Should have 12 volts over, or more than 12 volts over here actually. So let's test it out a second. Oops. Kind of hard to get these on here. And it's not grounding out good. I've got a little higher voltage. So I'm going to start my car up first. My car should start up. And my car does. Oh, look at that. That shows my car's charging. It's trying to charge his battery. Let's see if we can get this thing started. And looky there, it started. So now we're going to go down to the local auto parts store and have them do a battery test and probably get a new battery, but I think it has a load issue and it's just old. It's only a 5-year battery. It's probably been in longer than that. Let's see if we can see a date code on here. Okay, when they bought this battery, nobody pulled the date code off of here. Usually there's these numbers and the letters, and they'll take and they'll move out the numbers or the letters so you know the year and the month it was bought. Nobody did that, so we have no idea of knowing how old that battery really is.
And I'm sure it's older than 5 years because I've had it for at least 5 years.
Yeah, so now we're going to pull the cables off the car. Pull the car you're charging first, because this is away from the battery, the ground is. So now there's no battery coming from my car. Set these where they're not going to touch. Fall down. Take them off his. Now when I was younger, I would just ball up everything and throw it right in the car and take off. But now that I'm older and want to take care of my tools and stuff, and I'm not in a hurry anymore in life, just take the time to put everything back away where it belongs. And roll up my jumper cables so I have them next time. They've been sitting in my car since pretty much I got the car, and I haven't used them, but I think one other time for somebody else's car. Or maybe it was mine, because I have a...
No, I think you may have had to jump mine before.
I have a newer battery in this thing, in my Fusion, but I believe in vehicle maintenance. My son doesn't. He'd rather play games. I'm telling on him, he's probably going to edit this out. But he's the cameraman, so he's standing right here as I'm talking about him. So now, we're going to head down to the auto parts store. And guess what? I get to spend more money.
But I'll pay him back.
Okay. We're going to get back in here again before we go to the auto parts store. We're going to test something. Make sure the battery's actually charging here. Because it could even be the alternator, which is here, may not be charging the battery. So what we can do, we knew sitting here it had like 11.4 volts or something. So if the battery is charging, it should have like 13.5 to 14.5, and it looks like it's charging. So I have a feeling it's the battery. Okay, here we are at the auto parts store. We had the battery test done, and right here it says the rating is 700 cold cranking amps. Ours was putting out 350. The volts was high because it was charging on the way over here, but that as soon as you hit the key, it's going to drop to almost nothing. So, in essence, we got a 3-year over-the-counter replacement, no more prorating, and we spent money, or I spent money. He gets to pay me back. Okay, this is one of the reasons I always carry a toolbox in the trunk of my car, and my jumper cables. And it's not too bad weight-wise, but it's a full tool set. Nice thing with all this plastic on these new cars, you can just set your toolbox right up on it, move it over, make sure it's not going to fall off. And on my toolbox, because these tool cases aren't the greatest, I always hold my top because everything wants to fall out. You can't pull the battery out without pulling the frame cross mount out. So looking at this, I have enough experience that that's a 10 millimeter. Luckily, this is a SAE, or standard American tool sizing and metric. So we can just open this up, get out 10 millimeter, a little extension, and a ratchet. Pull that bolt out. We'll get out the, I know it's a, what is it, 5/16?
If you know what it is, why'd you say what is it?
Unhook your negative first. You don't want to accidentally cause a spark. Unhook your positive.
At least we won't have any road noise in the video today.
Yeah, got a busy street. When I was a kid growing up here, very little traffic. Of course, there was nothing to do in this town. You know, the sad thing is, I moved here in 1965. There was nothing to do in this town. Year 2020, and guess what? There's still nothing to do in this town. Okay, now we're going to move this out of the way. We're going to try to. And I think that might be a 15 millimeter. We'll get a little longer extension. Will that fit down in there? It might if we use a deep socket. I was wrong. Maybe it's 13 millimeter. So this is the hold down for the battery. This is the hold down bolt for the battery. The bolt and the little keeper. Then this battery has a little insulated sleeve around it or something. Try to take this off so we can reuse it. To unhook your negative first is when you're positive, if you hit the fenders and the inner fenders are metal. If your wrench hits that and your battery's all hooked up, you'll get an arc and a spark and all that kind of stuff. So, first thing we're going to do, we put the little plastic shield back on the battery. Now we're going to try to put the hold down keeper back in here. If you look right down in here on the positive side of the battery, they have a little cover on here. You got to take your cover off. That way you don't arc your battery. You take your positive, that's the lead we already took off earlier. Get it lined up. What I usually do on these side terminal batteries is once I get it fairly close to being snug, I just move it around a little bit so it makes a good contact. You don't want to over tighten these because they're just lead in there, which is what's holding it. and you don't want to strip that lead out. At least I think that's what it used to be made out of, was lead. And I got a little spark in there because something in the car is probably still on. Oh, that light right there is on. So move that around a little bit, put it back in here. Line all this back up. Now I like to use the extension or a deep socket because I can spin all the way around here and not hit my fender, or in this case my son's fender. Tighten this all back up. Now when we were over at where we jump started this Suburban, I hooked the jumper cables directly to the battery because I wasn't jumping off this vehicle. Now if you bring the camera around over here, if you were jumping somebody else's vehicle and didn't want to take a chance of sparking, you would hook to your, probably under here there's a terminal to hook up to, but you'd hook to your positive, and then right here they actually give you an area, it says GND, which stands for ground. You would just clamp your ground side onto here, and then even if it sparked, you wouldn't ignite the gases on here. I just thought I'd throw that little bit in there. Put your tools away, because I have a feeling this is going to start. We'll move this off of here. And look at that. It's as simple as that. We probably spent, maybe like 40-50 minutes total from the time I got there to jump the car to getting the battery installed. If you don't have access to a tow truck service or something, I probably saved about $100 and not having this thing towed to a shop and then the cost of a shop. So just with a little bit of simple knowledge, you can do this. So I want to thank you for watching this episode. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up. If you like this video, please leave any comments, any suggestions for future videos, and I want to thank you, and you too can live through your limits. Have a good day.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart.